Okay, guess we're ready.
Yep, take it away.
All right, so welcome everyone to our second official kickoff meeting. Again, you can find this file under, if you go to our Robofest main page, you can click on Get Involved, or I guess you find Get Involved under the main page, I guess. So that's robofest.net. And then again, our other contact information is on this first slide here. Again, welcome to everyone visiting us via Zoom today. First, I'll introduce the Robofest staff. I guess, sorry, I should have maybe introduced myself with that previous slide, but I'm Dr. Chris Cartwright. I'm the just finishing up, I think, about exactly 1 year on the job as the new Robofest director. Of course, taking over from the previous founder and director, Dr. CJ Chung. I'm an associate professor of mathematics at LTU. Unfortunately, our assistant director, Elmer Santos, had a conflict and is not with us today. But I would like to introduce Shannon Polonis, our full-time coordinator. Also Pam Sparks, another coordinator. And I think also with us today, we have, I think, Anthony and Harika. And we have 2 other student assistants, and then we have various other behind the scenes staff. But they got a pass from attending today, so. But primarily, again, you'll probably, at least in terms of the Zoom presence, you'll probably see either me, Elmer, Shannon, or Pam in future events, as well as possibly student assistants. And now I guess I'll let our Robofest coordinator, Shannon Polonis, take it away, I guess, from here, at least for the next portion.
Thank you, Dr. Cartwright. Here's the agenda for the meeting today. We will go through a quick overview of Robofest. We will then discuss the 2022 competition season schedule. There are some major updates. We will discuss the qualifier categories, open competition categories, and then registration fees by format. We will discuss how to advance to Robofest World Championship. We will have a Q&A session about the general rules and the anything up to that point, and then we will discuss the OceanBots game rules for 2022. So if you're not participating in game, you can log off after the Q&A session, but if you want to join us for the end of the session, that will be where we discuss the general, or the OceanBots rules in detail. Our mission statement is to generate excitement and interest among young people for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM, as well as arts and computer science. Our second mission is to develop essential skills such as teamwork, leadership, creativity, communication, and problem solving. We also hope to prepare students to excel in higher education and technological careers. Some of the features of Robofest: it is 100% autonomous robotics. We require sensors for all challenges. We offer dynamic playing fields, unknown factors, and no direct help allowed in our challenging events. Teams can use any robotics kit or system, any programming language. We consider it very affordable. Teams can reuse our old kits, and our registration fee is still very affordable at $75 per event. We host pre and post assessments, providing online links to the coaches. We host qualifying competitions and world championship events. The age division for most categories is 5th through 8th grade for junior division and 9th through 12th in senior division. We offer a variety of competition categories for many opportunities in STEM learning. We have a Robofest team pledge that we instituted in order for the students to understand that the focus of Robofest is about learning through competition. All of the general rules documentation and other important forms can be found on the Robofest website under the Get Involved 2022 main page. Coaches are responsible for communicating rules updates to their participants. It's relatively easy to become a Robofest team coach. Any teacher, school administrator, parent, tech specialist, or scientist or engineer is eligible to coach. We request that they be 18 years old, without a criminal record. Email is the primary and official communication method between Robofest and coaches, so please make sure that your coach email address is updated on the coach profile. We do have a video to introduce Robofest to new coaches to help them get started. It's under the Get Involved tab under Overview. Coaches must agree to and abide by the coach's pledge. It's listed in the general rules as well as every presentation that we host. Some of the things that we ask the coaches to do is to recruit team volunteers, including technical mentors and assistant coaches. We also encourage them to find team sponsors to help defray cost. They are responsible for facilitating team meetings and transportation to and from events. They're responsible for getting the teams registered and verifying all the team data. If there are teams that have a student outside the age limitations, we are offering waivers. So we ask them to complete an age waiver request if they're outside for an exception. Coaches should upload a team photo and a robot photo if desired. Those are printed on their participation certificates. Coaches are responsible to pay the registration fee in the system. They are required to collect a consent and media release form if the parent has not completed it online. We ask them to coordinate a student pre and post assessment. And we ask them also to follow all general and category specific rules that can be found on our website. About the assessment and surveys, participants will be assessed anonymously before and after the competition to see if participation in Robofest competitions increases their interest in some STEM subjects and careers. The pre-assessment survey instructions are sent to the coach with their team registration confirmation. And then a post-assessment survey will be sent after the competition, usually in April. The results are published in annual assessment reports, as well as a journal on education research. Robofest offers a scholarship to team members who choose to attend Lawrence Tech University. It's a $3,000 annual renewable scholarship for a total of $12,000. The application information is on our ltu.edu website under scholarship. And the application deadline is April 1st, 2022. If team members would like assistance with a letter of recommendation, we can help with that. We do have many volunteer opportunities throughout the season. Team mentors and workshop assistants can be professionals from any industry. We hope they have experience in Robofest, but we don't necessarily consider that a requirement. Volunteer service hours can also be earned for any number of organizations. If you're interested in mentoring or participating in a team workshop, please contact Elmer Santos. We also need judges and volunteers for events. We use local individuals, professors, or LTU staff participate in judging throughout our season. If you're interested in helping judge events, please contact me Pam at LTU. For the 2022 competition season, we're offering 7 different opportunities, 7 different categories. We have 2 qualifying competitions, game and exhibition. And then we're offering 5 open competition categories: Auto Sumo, Robo Arts, Robomed, Robo Parade, and the Unknown Mission Challenge. Our preseason is almost finished. We started with our international rules publication in November. This is our second kickoff meeting and webinar on January 15th. On Tuesday, January 18th, we will upload all the final versions of all the rules, including the category, the general, and any adjustments from this kickoff meeting. On January through March, we're hosting technical workshops and online workshops. Registration for the in-person is open to competing teams. However, the online classroom information is on our e-Academy, and that's open to pretty much anyone. So on February 12th, we will be hosting a warm-up event at LTU so we can finalize our judge training videos. We are still looking for 1 or 2 more teams to help us with that. So if you're interested, if you're local and you have a team ready to go on February 12th, please let me know and we'll get you registered for that. Starting in February and ending in the middle April, we are hosting our US and international qualifiers, and that's when the post-assessment surveys will be sent to the coaches. On April 18th, that's the date that any video submission for video qualifier is due, as well as video submission for any winning exhibition teams, and we'll get to that in just a moment. April 21st, any video qualifier or virtual regional team notified of their advancement to the World Championship event. And then mid-April through mid-May, we will be hosting Robofest Online World Championship events. This is a departure from our original announcement. On last Friday, the university told us that we cannot host any large events in rooms that are not dedicated to Robofest. So we can host small lab workshops and competitions, but we cannot host anything anywhere else on campus. So unfortunately, we have to pivot again back to the Online World Championship events. Our workshops are, again, as I mentioned, are free to any team that's registered and paid for a qualifier. They will be hosted in our lab. Students can register for multiple workshops. So if you have a student that wants to learn different categories or different languages, as long as they're registered as on a team to compete, they can come to any or all workshops. Registration for these is open on our website. So here is the schedule for the Online World Championship Synchronous Zoom events. We are not hosting all of our events online this year. Some of them we have to go to a video submission format because of the number of weeks available. We are actually losing 2 whole weekends. Easter weekend, we cannot host anything. The university is closed and we don't have any volunteers, and many teams wouldn't want to participate in the US. And the weekend before the game finals is the Faqs competition. So we have a feeling that part of our staff and many of the teams that participate in Faqs as well would not be available. So we're missing 2 whole weeks. So we are hosting online synchronous events for UMC, bottle sumo time trials, exhibition finals, and game finals. And then we are hosting the award ceremony in mid-April on mid-May on May 21st. All of these dates will be listed or posted on the webpage later today. So if you have any questions or concerns, this is the best we could come up with. Hopefully it works for everyone. And then RoboArts, Robomed, and even RoboParade, we are offering a video submission because these are open categories. We will be providing rubrics for video for RoboParade, which is new this year. Hello. So if you have any questions about that, we'll be posting all this information in the next couple of days as well. So the due date for video submission for the ROWC championship or the open categories is May 6th. So as I mentioned, we have 2 qualifier categories this season. Teams must compete in a in-person, online, or video qualifier at their local event in order to advance to the World Championship. So junior and senior game, junior and senior exhibition, the partially unknown and lighting conditions for unknown factors. So this year's game is called Ocean Bots, but for exhibition, teams have complete freedom to show off any creative autonomous robotic project. This year's game is called Ocean Bots. The objective is to develop a robot that moves 2 turtles, which are blue Lego blocks, and 6 trash objects, which are red Lego blocks, from their respective location, and then return them to a target or bring 2 turtles on board the robot. For each game run, there's a maximum of 2 minutes, but the team is allowed 1 full reset. All of the tasks are done autonomously without any help. Unknown tasks and factors are unveiled 30 minutes before the work time before each run. So we offer junior and senior divisions with a maximum of 5 members per team. Again, these are qualifier events, and the detailed rules and scoring sheet and example videos are on our Get Involved game page. And we will be, as I mentioned earlier, discussing the game rules in detail at the end of this presentation. Exhibition is a qualifier category where teams have complete freedom to show off any type of creative, intelligent robotics project. It's basically a robotics science fair. We do require that the robots employ sensors, and we encourage robot to robot or human to robot interaction. Teams can use program controllers as long as the program is written by the students. We do limit space for 64 square feet. This is for in-person qualifiers. For video submission or on Synchronous, the square footage is not as important, but just please keep in mind that try to stay compact. We give a 4-minute time for official presentation, including the demo, and the team is responsible for keeping that time. We encourage, we require a video sharing for qualifiers so judges can prepare questions. It must be uploaded to the registration page, as well as a code submission. This year, this is like, I think the 2nd or 3rd year we've required a code submission prior to qualifiers so the judges can review the code. And when the teams register for exhibition, we'll be providing information on how to update their code. The judging rubric can be found and the rules on the Get Involved exhibition page. We do allow 1 team member. However, we are not, if for video and for online Synchronous, we are not reducing scores for 1 team member. Here's a sample of the judging rubric for exhibition. It's a scale of 1 through 5 for different judging categories, and they're weighted. And there's their weighting for each event, for each category. Okay, into the open categories, we are allowing any team to register online as long as space available. We are asking teams from member countries to work with their country directors in order to get registered. We're offering RoboArts, RoboParade, and Robomed as video video submissions. Some sites may offer these as well. The Unknown Mission Challenge and the Bottle Sumo or Bottle Sumo time trials, depending on if they're in person or Synchronous online, have different requirements as well. Maximum team size is 4 for UMC and 3 for Bottle Sumo. RoboArts is very similar to exhibition, but projects are specifically focused on the visual and performing arts. Again, there's junior and senior divisions available. The maximum team size is 5 members. Parade. Robots are constructed and programmed by students to follow a parade route, detect other vehicles, start and stop without human help. And this is 1 division, which includes 4th grade through 8th grade. It's perfect for beginners. Team size is maximum of 5. This year's World Championship event theme is Preserve Our Natural Resources. And all the rules and rubrics can be found on the Get Involved RoboParade page. Robomat is an open category at the World Championship for intelligent and interactive bio and medical robotics and device projects. The project must be related to the biomedical and healthcare fields using sensors and/or actuators. This competition promotes an entrepreneurial mindset, so we encourage information about opportunity recognition or value creation in the project description. We offer 2 separate age divisions, the senior division, high schoolers, grades 9 through 12, and college division. The max team size is 5, and the judging rules and rubrics can be found on the Robomed page. Unknown Mission Challenge is a robotics final exam, we like to call it. Missions are completely unknown until the day of the challenge. We offer 2 separate divisions, but only Lego NXT, EV3, Spike Prime, or Vex IQ kits can be used for this competition in order to level the playing fields somewhat. All robot components must be unassembled at the beginning of the competition. We offer team sizes of 4, and the rules and information can be found on the UMC page. For Bottle Sumo, if the event is being held in person, some local sites are hosting in person, you need to be the first robot to intentionally push a bottle off the table or be the last robot remaining on the table. We do have some restrictions for the junior division and the senior classic division for platforms, but we then offer a senior unlimited division using any robot platform. The maximum team size is 3, and the information can be found on the Bottle Sumo webpage. For this year, we're offering, I've mentioned somewhat a little, but there's format and fee schedules for US competitions. For online qualifiers, we are hosting 2 game qualifiers and 1 exhibition qualifier currently. However, we may increase that offering as we reach capacity in those events. The fee is $75, and after the event, the office will automatically ship all competition materials to the team after the completion of the event. Teams don't have to order them, they'll be sent automatically. For video submission, again, we are hosting the video submission qualifiers for exhibition and for game. The fee is $75, and Robofest will automatically ship everything the team would get from an in-person event to them after the event. For in-person events, we are having, there's a few on the calendar right now. Hopefully we'll increase that number a little bit. The fee is $75. Robofest will ship to the site host, and then the site host will present everything to the teams regarding certificates, medals, and awards. Any open event at a qualifying competition, for example, if a site is hosting a Bottle Sumo or a Robo Parade, Robofest will ship everything to the site host. Currently, the fee is $75, but that may differ by site depending on the local situation on the ground. But again, Robofest will ship all the materials to the site host, and the site host will present those materials to the teams at the event. For international teams, we're trying to streamline everything as much as possible, just so there's fewer delays and fewer questions about what's happening after the fact. So for online qualifiers hosted by international hosts, where the fee comes to LTU, there's different options, but when some international hosts use our registration and our materials for their events. So in those cases, the fee is $75. The site host will ship everything in to the team after the completion of the event for online qualifiers. For video submission, the Robofest office hosts an international video submission for teams from non-member countries, as well as some international hosts will be hosting video qualifiers as well. In that case, the Robofest will ship to the teams after the completion of the event, or the site host will ship them directly. For in-person qualifiers, again, for international hosts that are using the Robofest registration and materials, it's a $75 fee. And then for open events, in person, that may differ again, but international hosts will host them. And then the teams will receive those items at the event if they're in person. So we're trying to minimize any confusion about the cost as well as the materials. So for every competition material, the teams will receive them included with their cost. So there's no additional ordering after the fact. They'll get them automatically. It'll be commemorative for this year. So each team will receive their items either at the event or very shortly afterwards. For the online World Championship events, again, we're streamlining the cost at $75 for all the Synchronous online, as well as the video submission. Robofest will automatically ship everything to their teams after the completion of the event. We are also including this year awards and the certificates included with that cost. Teams will not have to order those afterwards. It'll be automatically sent to them. So US teams advance to the World Championship by participating in a qualifier. So if you can see here, US teams will participate in an in-person, online, or video qualifier. So every first place team from each event for game and exhibition will automatically advance to the game or exhibition finals. Some other teams, depending on their scores, may also receive an invitation. And again, this is US teams. So based on their scores, we will aggregate all the teams in each of the events. And then based on their scores, we will invite US teams to participate. Teams that do not get an invitation can compete a second time for game in a US video qualifier. Exhibition teams will be screened again by virtual regional and be invited, but if they feel like they would like to improve their scores or try again, they can also participate in the USA video qualifier second chance. So teams have a couple of different ways to get from a qualifier to the finals. If they want to really make the exhibition teams, they really want to make the best possible score in the finals, they can try again. All open categories, registration is first come, first served based on space. So there is no qualifier for Bottle Sumo, time trials, med, UMC, arts, or parade. Teams advancing to the World Championships from international. We ask that all member countries provide their list of teams from their qualifiers. We will be working with each director to find the quota based on your total number of teams participating. We have a little bit more leeway now that we aren't trying to host everything online, or I'm sorry, in person. So we can offer more quotas than we would have been able to with the in-person, because there's no distancing requirements. And because we're offering Robo Arts, Robomed, and Robo Parade as video. So we are definitely looking forward to having a really great event, many teams, as much as we can. So other countries that are not listed on our list of directors can participate through International Video Qualifier, Game and Exhibition, or register directly for the open categories at the Robofest office. So once the registration is open, I believe we're opening the registration for the open categories in late February or early March. We want to make sure we get all the quotas figured out first. Then the international qualifiers, any teams that are eligible to locally host, registration will be open soon for those events. Okay, so that is the end of the general presentation. There's a couple of questions I've noticed come up in the chat. If you want to open up your microphone or raise your hand and ask a question, we can address all of those. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to look through the chat and see how many seats are available for international site hosts for ROWC. That's a very good question. It really depends on how many teams you have registered or you plan to register. So we will work with each individual director to determine your quota for this year. And from Lydia, it looks like registration is closed for many events. Lydia, we're just getting started. So as events are coming online, where are you located? And I can tell you.
Hi. So I'm in Berkeley, which is really close to you.
Okay, sure. Yeah. We have a couple of events. I want to say Warren Woods Christian's having an in-person event, and we're also hosting a couple online. Synchronous. We are getting started, but we do have a pre-registration site open. So if you want to get registered in order to bring a team to a workshop, go ahead and register in the pre-registration. I think it's called pre-registration. So you can register there, and then we can move you, take all your data from one to another into a site once they're all open, and you can choose which one's best for you.
Okay, like, so we were interested in the bottle sumo, but so would that also be?
Right there, I know that one of our local sites is hosting a bottle sumo event. Not sure if are you junior or senior division?
Junior.
Okay. Yeah, we're still kind of waiting for people to decide what they're doing. The bottle sumo online for ROWC for the event in April, the registration for that one will open up, like I said, late February, early March.
So if there's no in-person, then they still have a chance to do the online.
Correct. Well, and also if they're, as well as because it's not a qualifier, they could do both, even if they didn't win anything at the in-person. So if there was an in-person event, they were able to go to, and then they could still compete again in the online. And that's just the time trial. So there's a different dynamic for the in-person. So
will there be more openings then to register for the bottle sumo, because it says closed.
Which one are you looking at? Where?
I went in to register for let's see, I'm online here. I'm on the home page and it says,
oh, I see.
And then it says, bottle sumo says closed. So the parade is open, exhibition, and game.
Right. That's because there is a parade in Florida right now that's open, registration's open. And then, so once I open up a bottle sumo that's ready to be, there isn't anything local right now. So.
Oh, gotcha. Unless if we wanted to become a host site, I don't know if our district would agree to that, but.
Yeah, give me a call or send me an email and we can talk about that. There's lots of options. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Emma, you had a question regarding exhibition number of team members. I'm coming back to those slides. You said slide 17. Hello, and slide. What's your question, Emma?
For Shannon, there's a question about Robo Parade. Is there a Robo Parade for the ROWC, and what's the format?
The format for parade in ROWC is video submission.
Sorry, I couldn't remember that.
That's okay. And then Emma had a question about exhibition number of team members. 17, she had a question. Let me see if I can find 17. '17 is a schedule. Exhibition allows 5 team members. If that answers the question. Is that, Emma, you're muted.
You said something about 1.
We do allow a team of 1. We don't restrict, I mean, because of the pandemic and because in the past, if we had a team of 1, we would give them the lowest score for teamwork. But for video submission and for online synchronous, we've removed the teamwork description. So there is no restriction, there is no deduction for a team of 1.
No penalty.
No penalty, exactly. We're not ranking, we're not using that as any rubric for a team member for, obviously, if they want to participate as a team of 1, we will definitely allow, we will not discourage that at all.
Is that for all categories?
Yes.
Team of 1 is fine.
Yes.
Okay.
We used to have teamwork on the rubrics, but for the video, we've removed it and we've changed it to the video. So we're judging the video more heavily than teamwork. Obviously, if there's no team, if it's just one person. So, but we're not even taking it into consideration at this point.
If we have it in person, would that be at the local level? Should we consider a penalty?
Probably not, since that would be a different rubric than the world's, right?
Yeah, that's a different, for the in-person's a different rubric. Teamwork is on the rubric for in-person.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Well, let me look at that. Let's take that offline now, and we'll make sure that we discuss that, because we don't want to penalize students for not being able to gather. I mean, that's unfair at this point. In this era, we can't penalize students for wanting to be distanced from one another.
Well, we certainly make sure that they know they won't be penalized at Worlds if it's a team of 1.
Right.
Just have to check on local.
Yes.
I think JC had a question, and Dr. Ram, I'm not sure who raised their hand first.
Yep. For international site hosts, do we still need to have events for the exhibition?
Exhibition is a qualifier.
Right.
So if you want to advance teams, I mean, you can, it's up to you, truthfully, because, we allow the international directors to kind of pick and choose a little better on their own. But we would like the best of, the award-winning teams to be advanced. So the competition is, it's more meaningful if it's teams that have participated and been advanced from a qualifier. But again, we are, we'll leave it up to you.
Okay. So do we still have a parade for RWC?
It's video submission.
Oh, I see. So it's okay.
Yeah. So we're going to update the rules for that.
Yeah.
I see.
We'll have a rubric and a distinct like a video requirement, like exhibition, or like Robomat and RoboArts are also video submission. We're not hosting a synchronous RoboArts or a synchronous Robomed this year. Just we are limited on the weekends between April and May. We want to be done with our regular season during the regular season timeframe instead of waiting until the summer or even the fall. So in order for us to do that, we have to make a couple sacrifices. So we're hosting 3 of the open category exhibition style events through a video submission as opposed to an online synchronous.
I see. So they can be just one team to submit one video, something like RoboArts.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Thanks.
You're welcome. Dr. Romero, did you have a question?
Let's see.
Yes. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Thank you
Hello.
for this meeting. Hello.
Hi,
Yeah,
how are you?
we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. This is trouble. Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you. I have a question. If in Mexico, the health conditions permit us do presential Robofest, we can do.
I think if you're asking if you want to do in person locally, that's fine. That's your decision. Unfortunately, at Lawrence Tech, we are not allowed to do like a big in-person worlds. But locally, you can decide on the conditions, you know, what's best, what's safe, what makes the most sense. So, and basically any country can do its own local events. Just keep in mind, right, the game and exhibition, right, need qualifiers, right? But if you want to, you can host your own local parade, for instance. But teams don't have to go through the local events, you know, to join Worlds if it's an open event. Or at least we leave that up to the country directors, I guess, right? I think, Shannon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Did that answer your question?
Okay. Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Emma, did you have another question?
Yes, thank you. Since this is the first time you're having video submission for the Robo Parade, are you going to update the requirements for
Yes.
that video?
Yes. Yeah, we're going to basically have the team go through the pre-parade checklist in a video.
Okay.
We have updated the rules. We have not had a chance to completely verify all the new rules. I mean, you're welcome to host an in-person, you know, as you have. I mean, but any team that wants to participate in the World Championship, it doesn't have to be a qualified team either. You could, any of your, or you know, as many of the teams that we have space for, can submit a video for RWC. It's two separate events. It's not, it's like in the past where we've hosted open categories where, you know, teams who already participated in something and wanted to participate again, they don't have to qualify.
Okay, I was thinking that submission as a group, but they can submit individually and send in a video of, I guess, of the in-person event.
Yeah. Well, they have, there will be requirements in the video that we will definitely make clear. And again, there's a separate fee. So, I mean, they need to, you know, decide based on their interest and their ability to, you know, to submit the registration fee. So.
Okay, individually. I got it.
Okay. Stephen, did you have a question?
Yeah, just a simple one. I captured all pages of your presentation, but I missed the pages 37 for fee of ROWC. So can you show me one more time for page 37?
37. I will be uploading this presentation to the website. So if you want to, I was going to do that right after this part of the presentation was over. This is for US teams, so this really doesn't even apply to you. So you're welcome to capture it, but this is for US advancing.
Yeah, a lot of persons are waiting for my images because
okay, hold on, let me share.
Very late night. So yeah, 37. Can you show me a previous page, 36? Yes, thank you, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the general rules or the fee schedules or ROWC dates and formats? Again, I will be uploading this presentation to the webpage, to the 2022 general or 2022 main page, as well as the dates for the championship on the World Championship page. So this information will be available readily by the end of the day today.
I just have a quick question about the workshops. So they're still in person?
Yes.
Three people, total of possible 10 teams, correct?
Well, yes, we will definitely keep our distance as much as we can. If you are interested in a workshop, please go ahead and register. We do ask that you do pre-register for the, although if you're doing Bottle Sumo, most of the, I'll let you know, Lydia, that the workshops are really highly geared toward game. So.
Well, I figured that if the kids, I'm sure they could learn things.
Absolutely, yep. Yeah.
Right, there's always, because it would be the EV3 Scratch.
Okay.
And I'm brand new to robotics, so anything we can learn or.
Yes, there are quite a few workshop, and there's a Bottle Sumo camp presentation on our E-Academy page too. And if you want to take a look around there, there's a lot of information in that.
Okay, so Bottle Sumo Camp E-Academy page, is that from, I can find it from the website here?
Yeah, if you go to the E-Academy tab and you go to workshops, or I think it's workshops or camps. And if, like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and email me directly and we can, I'll help you, I'll guide you to where you need to go. I can do some screenshots for you. But there's a lot of material in our E-Academy pages for Bottle Sumo.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having you in our competitions.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? And then we will turn it over to.
Just want to raise here. Since last year, we kind of end our competition quite late of the year. And in 1 month for Asian countries, they were going to enter Lunar New Year holidays in 1 month's time, and all our students are going to a winter break. So this year will be a kind of tight schedule for us. So yeah, there might be some kind of resources restraint here. Also, we're watching out for Omicron situation happening here too. Yeah, so it might be difficult for this year.
Okay, well, let me know what we can do to help. If there's anything we can offer. I mean, because teams don't have to get visas and travel, you could go even as late for your competitions as, you know, early April. So the dates and events are as early and as, you know, we had to skip a couple weekends too, but we wanted to get done with our competition and the award ceremony before we ran into a situation where we were dealing with a lot of summer breaks here. So it's just, you know, we wanted to do what we could to keep our off season open, because last year, because we were working over the summer and then into the fall, our off season was about 2 weeks and we need more time to prepare for the next year's game and events and things like that. So I know it's a challenge. We're all dealing with a lot of new things, a lot of different things, and let us know what we can do to help if there's anything we can look at to help you there.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it for your help. Good to see you guys.
All right. let's go ahead. We're going to go through the game rules. They are very similar to the kickoff. There are very few adjustments from the international rules. There might be a few clarifications. So if you have already translated and then your teams are already working, that's fine. You can continue with that. But for the US version, this is the final official rules for US teams. So Chris, do you want to bring that up?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, so again, if you're not interested in game or if you attended the first kickoff, I mean, you probably don't really need to stay on unless you want to, but I'm hopefully going to go through, again, the game overview in hopefully half an hour or less. And then we'll have some more time at the end of that to, again, if there's more questions, if you think of a question that we didn't answer, you know, about anything in Robofest, there'll be some time after I'm finished with this next presentation. Share my screen. So hopefully everyone gets to see my cat first. It's Mr. Precious. Let's see if I can remember how to start the slideshow. Okay, so this year's game is called Ocean Bots against a theme of environmental rescue and cleanup. Again, this is version 1.0, so hopefully this will be the final version, but again, depending on the feedback we get from today's kickoff, there's possibly some, hopefully only minor changes, maybe between now. We hope to finalize these rules by Tuesday, January 18th. You'll be able to find, again, the official rules. Again, if you go to our robofest.net, click get involved, and then choose game. And of course, like with all of our presentations, we basically give all of our contact information on the first slide. And these slides, again, I think, again, if there's any changes to these slides, those will be updated later this weekend. Certainly, basically everything should be finalized by the following Tuesday. Hopefully some stuff will be updated later today, but we may need to spend some time at least proofreading some other things before we post some items. Right, the game scenario for this year. So the sea turtles are in trouble. A garbage barge has spilled trash into the turtles' habitat, and researchers need to see if the turtles are injured and to clean up the trash. So what students need to do is build and program an autonomous robot that will find the turtles, which are blue Lego blocks. They'll need to bring some on board the robot, deliver others to researchers on the beach, which is the green target zone. And the robot will also need to find trash objects, which are red Lego blocks, and deliver those back to the garbage barge, which is the black target. The robot needs to avoid pilings, which are represented by water bottles. And again, all this must be done without human help. And there is a maximum of 2 minutes to achieve this mission. Maximum points will be given if all the turtles and trash are delivered to the appropriate targets. And again, some of them turtles need to be on board the robot. And partial points will be given basically if items are delivered to the wrong target zone. And even if they're not in the target zone, as long as they're moved from the original location, they'll also get partial points. There will be a penalty if pilings are moved. For the junior division, the location of the turtles, the trash, and the pilings will be unveiled at the start of the 30-minute work time. For the senior divisions, only partial information will be unveiled and before the work time, and other locations will be unknown until after the robots are impounded. Keep in mind, just with always with the game, there could be additional unknown tasks or objects that are added for this year's online World Championship. And again, we'll pause to take questions at the end of this presentation. So please, you can type questions in the chat. If you're worried you might forget it, or again, please wait till I'm finished for the presentation to ask questions. But we can certainly go back and review slides during the Q&A. Right, next, the game synopsis. Again, there's a picture of at least the starting table on the top. Again, the robot needs to move 2 turtles, the blue blocks, and 6 trash objects, the red blocks, into their respective targets. And the robot needs to bring 2 turtles on board the robot. So there's 4 turtles total. Again, any 2 can be on the robot. The other 2 should be taken to the appropriate target zone, which I think is illustrated in the bottom, I think is what hopefully a perfect score might look like, the bottom situation. For a game run, again, maximum of 2 minutes. 1 full reset is allowed. We'll explain resets in later slides. Again, all the tasks must be done autonomously. Again, no external help. So again, the students need to do all the building, the robots, and programming. No adult help. Unknown tasks and factors will be unveiled before the 30-minute work time. This will include information such as the starting location and orientation of the robot. Again, any object locations that are unveiled. Also, again, new items and landmarks, again, basically will be explained as part of these unknown task factors. And those could involve what's considered a game-ending task, and we'll explain that task as well. And then there's a list of the STEM learning goals that hopefully, again, this game will emphasize this year. Wait, next, I guess I'll have hopefully I can bring up the video. Let's see, I'll see what happens if I click on it. I do have it open in YouTube, but I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully you still see it. Oh. Sorry, I was hoping to skip the ad, but at least. Okay, so the robot in this case here, the starting location was in the bottom left corner. And I think the orientation was facing toward the right. I believe was the direction the robot faced initially. Keep in mind those pilings are the water bottles the robot should avoid if at all possible, or else it will get a penalty. And in here, this is a pretty simple robot. I think one of our student assistants, or possibly Elmer Santos, designed this robot. Again, just as a sample. So this is a very basic strategy. And keep in mind, to gain the most points, right, the red blocks, Lego blocks, need to be taken to one target, and the blue blocks need to be taken to the other target. And I'll let you read the rules to make sure you find out which target is the appropriate one, because I'm worried I'll misspeak. Oh, and I should emphasize, there will be one target on top of one of the pilings. If you look, there's a blue Lego block at the top there. And this illustrates how we'll go over scoring in a few seconds. So again, this is a total of 62 points. I believe this year there was a maximum of 100 points for each mission. And I think you just restarted that video. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea of this year's game. Next, here's a diagram for the playing field setup. Main thing to keep in mind is, again, right, the red blocks. I believe that was the trash. The blue blocks are the turtle. You can see that over in the diagram for the locations. Again, I guess 4 of the trash will always be pretty much in the same location. Then there's 2 other trash objects that will be unveiled. In order to set up the field, again, for these dimensions, X is measuring from basically that bottom, or I guess that would be the southwest corner. If you use that northwest, east, south orientation with that compass at the top, Y is going to measure, again, the distance up from that corner. Notice W is going to measure the distance from the southeast corner. Then for the turtles, right, 2 of the turtles will basically always be on the same location. One turtle, turtle number 9, will always be on the piling. But keep in mind that C and D distances, the pilings possibly be in different locations. But depending on wherever the pilings are, that number 9 turtle will always be on top of that second from top bottle along the north edge of the table. And C and D, right, tells you basically where to set up the pilings. Keep in mind the playing field could be different from round 1 to round 2. There's again, the green and blue target zones are on opposite sides of the table. And the start zone, I guess, will either be in the southwest corner or the northeast corner. So the 2 possible starting zones for this season. The start zone, you will refer to either the black side or the green side. Hopefully that'll be easier to remember than southwest or northeast. We'll also again say the robot location and orientation. That's unveiled for both junior and senior before the work time. C and D and the locations of 5, 6, and 10 are unveiled before the work time for junior. For senior, only C and D are unveiled before the work time. So basically both junior and senior will know the locations of the pilings, which of course also means turtle number 9. But 5, 6, and 10 are unveiled for junior, but not for seniors. So 5, 6, and 10 locations will be unknown factors for seniors. Those will only be placed after impounding. hopefully to help you, again, set up the tables so that they are, again, uniform for all teams competing at a site. We recommend the use of whole reinforcement stickers. If you have trouble purchasing those, again, you could just use like a piece of masking tape or something. Again, hopefully it's something that's light in color so the robot won't confuse it for like one of the turtles or trash. Oh, and hopefully to make it simpler for placing the objects, again, you don't have to worry about making everything in the picture, right? Everything is kind of at, aligned, parallel to the edge of the table. It's not necessary to be that perfectly accurate when you set up. So the main thing, at least, hopefully make setting up fairly quick, especially for resets, is just make sure you cover the location sticker and use, again, those dimensions in that table on the right for setting up the tables. And we'll come back. I see there's some questions in the chat. We'll come back to this slide probably during the Q&A. Difference between junior and senior. Again, typically the game ending task is harder for senior. Again, keep in mind for the senior, there are some objects that are not unveiled until after the work time. The location of the bottle barriers, which are the pilings, are unveiled for both junior and senior before the work time. Again, trash objects and turtles are same for both junior and senior. One key difference between junior and senior is juniors are only allowed one controller, or again, basically one type of brain or something that, again, is running a program. Seniors are allowed to use multiple controllers. Another major difference between junior and senior is vision sensors are not allowed for junior. Vision sensors are allowed for senior. Junior is 5th through 8th grades. Senior is 9th through 12th grades. List of materials, I'll just try and summarize this. Again, these are in the official rules. And of course, this PowerPoint will be posted actually possibly even later today, unless we see some changes that need to be made in the Q&A. Or I think this version actually is probably posted already based on Kickoff 1, but again, there's possibly could be some slight changes. Again, just like typically for each year for the game, teams need their own 6-foot plastic folding table, especially if they're doing things online. They'll need their own table. Of course, if you're a site host, you just need at least enough tables so that you can maybe run some teams in parallel. Again, I'll let you read all these particular requirements. Again, the main thing, of course, is you want tables that are pretty much uniform for all teams if you have multiple tables at a site. These will be the type of tables that we use, again, if we were doing an in-person World Championship, which unfortunately is not possible this year, but hopefully 2023 will return to in-person Robofest World Championship. The floor color could vary on different sites. Again, you'll need 4 water bottles, and hopefully they're close to 500 milliliters, or again, whatever's close to that, depending on your country. Again, of course, some countries might prefer ounces as opposed to milliliters. The height should be about 20 centimeters. The diameter should be between 5.5 and 7 centimeters. Again, as long as it's close, basically the national director, again, for each country can decide, what is or is not allowed for teams. And it's important that the cap is flat enough to support I guess should just be a turtle object, I guess, although I guess it could be an unknown factor. I guess there's nothing in the rules that say a trash couldn't also be on top of a pile. We're going to provide a bottle locator template. Will hopefully help you place those bottles. And again, there's a link to that that you can click on when we post this online. Again, the green target zone is just green paper. Hopefully it's a fairly standard size available internationally. The black target zone is hopefully a standard black paper. Again, we recommend that you tape at least all the edges to the table, possibly more. If you want to do extra tape, that's fine, but at a minimum, please tape at least all 4 corners. Again, the 6 trash objects, you can see a picture of those on the bottom right. They're basically 2x4 Lego bricks, 4 of them. For the turtle objects, they're 6 2x4 blue Lego bricks. And hopefully purchasing those objects will be fairly straightforward for both teams and sites. Finally, the whole reinforcement stickers. I guess we're going to provide a link where you can get information about those. And those should be all the materials that you need for this year's game. Violations and other things. When any of the following violations occur, judges need to stop the game immediately. And there's basically just 3 types of violations. Again, if a human touches the robot or playing field materials, that's a violation. Again, once the robot starts moving, the player cannot touch it. If the robot has not, basically, if the robot is still in the start zone and it hasn't moved, occasionally, if the players push the wrong button or select the wrong program, again, as long as they catch the robot before it moves or leaves the start zone, there'd be no violation in that case. The robot must stay on the table for the entire round. If the robot falls off the table, that's a violation. And again, basically the team at that point can either, if it's the first time, ask for a reset or just end the round. Again, if anything violates our rules, but hopefully, actually, I guess there's really only two main types, but for instance, like there's no hazardous materials allowed. So for instance, if a judge sees a robot with a hazardous material, like if a flamethrower all of a sudden activates, then the judge should stop the robot at that point, or like if it's using a chainsaw or something. Robots are not allowed to damage playing field materials. The team can request a one-time full reset. That does incur a penalty. Basically, at any time, so they don't have to wait until the robot stops or falls off the table to request the reset. Or again, basically at any time, they can declare the end of the run. But again, if the robot was still moving, they don't get credit, for instance, like for a game-ending task. If a reset is selected, time does continue to run, so it's important that judges reset the table quickly. Players can call for the end of the run at any time. But again, wherever the robot is stopped, or if they stop the robot, the student should leave the robot at that location. So again, the judges can determine how that might affect points scored. If the robot is still moving when the team calls end of run, or at the time limit, then no points will be awarded for the game-ending task, which will require stopping. Procedures for playing rounds. And again, this is for in-person competition, so things might need to be modified slightly. For online, again, for the game this year will be online synchronous for the World Championship. But I think a lot of these rules also would apply to the online situation. Again, only contestants are allowed to access the pit area, team tables or practice fields or official game fields. Again, there should be no coaches or anything basically other than judges in those areas. Judges basically should be proctoring those areas to make sure, again, that there's no adult help during any of the practice or competition. Again, that also includes setup time, breaks, basically anytime, basically once the teams are at their team tables at the beginning of the day and basically until the competition is finished. When unknown tasks and factors are unveiled, teams will be provided a hard copy. Again, this is in person, or again, if it's like the online championships, we'll probably display it as well as email it. I think usually we include that in the chat as well. We'll give examples of unknown task factors in later slides. Teams are given a 30-minute work time after unknown task factors are unveiled to work on the robots. Again, prior to the start of the work time, and in fact, ideally even before that, but definitely during the work time, there should be no one except for contestants and authorized staff and volunteers in the competition areas, including practice fields and official playing fields and pit area. During the practice time, again, this is if there's, again, more teams than playing fields, if each team doesn't have their own field, teams need to share the fields. And again, this is primarily intended for in-person competitions. These guidelines here, hopefully some local countries will be able to have, and or states will be able to have in-person competitions this season, but the World Championship will be fully online for game, for everything, but some things online, some things video, depending on the category. All teams must submit their robots to the impound area when the 30-minute work time has expired. Again, robots can be impounded early. Again, for in-person, it's to avoid traffic jams, we recommend just one team member deliver the robot to the impound table. For online competitions, typically they can just impound their robot on the playing field table. Again, if there's multiple teams, again, we want the competitions to run on time. So again, for in-person, there might be penalties if teams are not ready to impound at the appropriate time. During the impounding process, judges will inspect the robots. This includes checking the size of the robot, the team ID, the name, front label, number of controllers for junior, etc. And again, we'll explain, I think, on the following slide, what are these specifications the judges need to check for. No power will be supplied at the impound table. The entire robot must be impounded, basically including anything. So including, so teams need to recharge batteries or make sure the batteries are charged as much as possible prior to delivering the robot to impound. Teams will compete in a predetermined order decided by the site host. During game rounds, all team members must remain in the spectator area. Again, they should not be watching from the pit area. So the pit basically should be completely empty. Again, we don't want teams working on computers while everyone is getting ready to compete. When a team is called to compete, a maximum of 2 contestants per team are allowed to retrieve the robot from the impound area and be at the playing field. Again, the judge will ask the MC if the timer's ready. If the judges are ready, the teams are ready. If everyone's ready, the official countdown is 3, 2, 1, then go to start a run. Contestants must stay near the start zone. Again, we recommend that they don't follow the robot. We don't want the robot sensors getting tricked and think that a team member is, for instance, a piling or trash or turtle. But of course, if they see the robot is about to fall off the table or something, then they can go and approach the robot. Or again, if they want to end the run, they could also approach the robot in that case. We recommend, again, that teams try and do that before, for instance, the robots maybe fall off and damage themselves. For the judges, to make it simple for judging, final scoring is done after the run is over. Main thing judges need to watch during the run is whether or not there are violations, and if a reset is asked, and of course reset to the field if a reset is asked for. Team members must sign the score sheet to confirm the team score. Okay, robot specifications. Robots must be created by students. If a robot is too similar to another robot, again, basically, Robofest staff will do an investigation. Again, we want to make sure, again, that it's students who are building and programming these robots. Maximum size for the robots this year is going to be 35 by 35 centimeters. I think I forgot to mention earlier in the slides that actually the starting zone is only 25 by 25. So for that reason, robots will be allowed to hang outside of the 25 zone, but at least as much of the robot as possible must be within that 25 by 25 zone. We like to minimize robot hanging outside of that zone. All the wheels for driving must touch the table during inspection by the judges, again, to qualify for that 35 by 35. For game, there's no height or weight limitation. Keep in mind, like there are some limitations, for instance, for weight for other categories like Battle Sumo. Any number of sensors or sensor types is allowed, although of course, sometimes the hardware of the robots may have a functional limitation on that. Any number of type of motors is allowed. Multiplexers are okay. Sensors are not allowed if they're harmful to humans, I should emphasize. And vision sensors are not allowed for junior. Vision sensors are allowed for senior. Robofest is an open platform competition, so any material robot kit may be used, as well as, again, non-standard kit parts such as tape, glue, bolts and nuts, rubber bands. Basically, as long as the material is not harmful to humans, then it is okay to use. Robofest team ID and name tag on top of the robot is required. And a label identifying the front of the robot is also required. Again, that way the judges can check the starting orientation of the robot. Again, the game ending task may require display numbers. So again, we ask the team to have a display screen. So those are the robot specifications the robots must meet. And that'll be what the judges are checking for when robots are impounded. Here's a sample unknown task factor. Again, for the setup, basically, of course, 1 through 4 for junior, of course, is always in the same location, those trash. I guess 7, 8, and 8 are always in the same location. Of course, C is going to specify where that turtle number 9 is going to be. And C and D, again, for junior are unveiled. Actually, both for junior and senior are unveiled prior to the work time. So for instance, an unknown task factor, it might be unveiled that the starting location is in the black side start zone. That's the southwest corner. And the robot might be facing the west edge of the table. And again, the ending task might be for the robot to be in the northeast edge of the corner with some part of the robot over the east edge. And of course, that could also be considered on the green side of the table, facing east for the game ending task. Again, this is just a sample. We also have a sample for senior. Again here, right, keep in mind 5 and 6 are only unveiled after impound for senior, as well as number 10. C and D are unveiled. Of course, they could be different for junior and senior. Again, these unknown factors could be different from round 1 to round 2 for both junior and senior. In this case here, we're actually kind of using the same starting location orientation and game ending task for both junior and senior, but in general, of course, the game ending task may be more difficult for senior. Wait, here I'd like to go over these scoring sheet. And again, you can find this at robofest.net. I made that just like inside. In fact, I think we were able to fit pretty much the entire scoring sheet on this one slide. We're kind of skipping like the top part that judges need to fill out with all the team information. But in terms of scoring, right, judges basically, again, at the end of the run, they need to see where all the turtles are. That's the blue blocks. There's 4 total. And again, basically the judge needs to decide which of these 4 criteria apply. So either it's onboard the robot, in the green zone, in the black zone, or if it's only been moved. And again, only one of those 4 things should be counted for each turtle. Similar thing for the trash objects, which are going to be the red blocks. There are 6 of them. Judges need to look and see if they're either in the black zone, in the green zone, or moved. Then the pilings, right? Those should not be moved. So if they're completely outside the piling zone or knocked over, that's a 6-point penalty, I guess, per bottle. So knocking them all down would not be a good strategy for teams. That could be maximum 24-point penalty, I guess. The game ending mission is going to be worth 10 points this year. If the robot is intact throughout the run, that'll be worth 10 points this year. And there's a maximum of 1 reset allowed. But again, if the 1 reset is used, that's a 3-point penalty. Again, I believe, for instance, if all of the turtles or if 2 turtles are on board the robot and 2 are in the green zone, if all 6 red trash is in the black zone, no pilings are moved. If the game ending mission is achieved and the robot is intact, I believe that will give a perfect score of 100 points. In the event of a perfect score, we ask the judges to record the time left in seconds. And of course, we will have a warm-up event to go over the judge training. So if you want more details, again, we encourage you to, or at least I think the judge training is basically just for local Michigan teams. If you're within traveling distance of Lawrence Tech, we'll also record that event. So again, if you are not within traveling distance, you can at least watch the recording to get an idea, get some practice of scoring. How to score objects. Objects are considered in the target zone, basically if any part of the object is touching the target zone. So we're hopefully going to try and make it fairly easy to score this year. Or again, it could also be in the airspace above the target zone. For instance, if the robot turns out to be in the target zone, but for instance, like the objects are on the robot, then we need to consider that airspace. Objects are also considered moved from their location if any part of the location sticker is visible. And that includes being on the robot and if it's moved off of the table on the floor. One possible case is if a robot unfortunately moves a object from one sticker to cover another sticker, that actually would not receive points. Again, that main reason for this is just to make it easier for the judges to just count the number of stickers visible. Pilings are considered moved if they're completely out of the bottle zone. And again, you can find that template on our game page online, or if they're knocked over. A turtle object is considered on board if the object is touching the robot and not touching anything else other than possibly another turtle object or trash object that is also on board the robot. And an object can only get credit for 1 status. And again, in general, it will get whatever one will give it the most points. And I think we have some FAQs, hopefully to help you determine which status it should get credit for. Rules to determine winners and break ties. This is basically the same as previous game years. So again, the winners in each age division, junior or senior, will be decided first by the average score. Then if we need to break a tie, the first tiebreaker is the best score of the 2 rounds. Second tiebreaker is highest time left, if there's the same best score. And then finally, in rare cases, there might be a rerun necessary. So for instance, in the sample, I think both teams A and B, actually all teams A, B, and C have the same average score, right? So actually for all three teams, we'll need to go to at least the first tiebreaker. Teams A and B have the same best score, but so team C would not be first place because it has a lower best score. Then team A and B, again, we want the robots to do the mission as fast as possible. So since team A had more time left, right, they did the mission faster, they would get rank 1, team B rank 2, and then team C would be rank 3 in this sample situation. Okay, reminders of general rules and restrictions. See, actually, I'll probably maybe try and go through this a bit quickly. Main thing I just want to emphasize is that proctors are watching for violations. In effect, especially if we're doing like online things, again, someone who's a judge may also need to serve as a proctor. Again, basically, I definitely encourage all judges to read the official rules, and basically anything that's forbidden in the official rules. One of the main things they need to be watching out for is, again, basically no adult help is allowed during the competition. So there should not be like verbal or electronic communication between the team and non-team members. Again, team members should not be leaving the pit, again, to try and communicate with non-team members. If this were in person, for instance, teams should not alter, or touch other people's property, robots or computers. And again, once a robot is impounded, it should not be changed. Although if a team impounds early and changes their mind, I guess that would be okay. But basically, once the impound, the robot is impounded finally, right, there should be no circumstance that the robot should be taken out of impounding before it competes. Unless, for instance, like, there might be some weird case where a team impounds early, then changes their mind. But again, basically, once a robot is impounded and checked, nothing should change before it actually competes. Any violations can result in deduction of points or disqualification at the judge's discretion. Again, if anyone sees any suspicious activities, they should notify the nearest volunteer. And again, for in-person events, please do not use flash photography because that can interfere with the sensors of robots. Again, indication for site host and judges. Again, every effort is made to be consistent in all the dimensions, but of course, there might be a error of plus or 5 millimeters and things. So again, as long as whoever's setting up the tables is within this 5 millimeter tolerance, that should be okay. Again, if there are multiple playing fields, again, please make sure that your chief game judge checks consistency between fields. This would again if there's multiple teams per site. Again, we recommend at least 1 meter distance from the playing field when the robot is in action to avoid interference between robots and people. Final decisions are made at the discretion of the chief game judge. Additional FAQs or rule clarifications or rule change documents will be posted on our official webpage. The general rules, we have made a few updates, I think, since Kickoff 1. So those are going to be, I think, posted at least by this following Tuesday. We hope that basically everything is going to be finalized by Tuesday, January 18th. And each team member, as well as the coach, must bring the signed Robofest consent and release form. That basically applies to all Robofest events, not just a game. Well, I think with the exception of the parade, basically all events, junior is 5th through 8th grade. Senior event is 9th through 12th grade. Our Robo Parade also allows 4th graders. Maximum size for the game teams is 5. That's the same for many other events as well. A few other events, we want smaller teams of 3 or less. And registration for pretty much all events this year is, at least for United States events, will be $75. International, again, teams in other countries should check with their national director to see if the fee is slightly different. Right. So again, primarily, some of the previous slides, again, tried to emphasize in-person competitions. This next few slides would like to try and emphasize what might be different if it's an online competition. For the game, at least for World Championships, that will be online synchronous. Again, just similar to in-person ones, we still need a team ID sign. And again, the coach can print that. Again, we'll give you options. You can print it from the file operations menu on the coach homepage. Teams, again, we ask that you use a common online camera setup, and we'll show that in a following slide. Again, the chief game judge needs to check the official playing field setup before official runs to make sure that everything is correct. Each location must have location judges to proctor and prevent unauthorized activities. Translators are allowed where needed. That's especially important for the Robofest Online World Championships, where we, again, will be having different teams from different countries with different primary languages. So for the online game, here's basically this. If you participated last year, it's pretty much the same format. Again, the Robofest office will send the unknown tasks and factors via Zoom to teams. Teams will send the scores and video links back to the Robofest office. Again, I think we'll provide basically like a folder that you can upload those things, or email if that folder doesn't work so much. And again, basically each team at a location will have its own set of judges. And last year we recommended 3 judges. I think we saw that we could sometimes get by with 2 judges. One was pretty difficult to do all the tasks that are required. But each team does basically need its own, at least 1 judge per team is, I say, a minimum, at least for the ideal scenario. So here's the setup that we would like per team. Again, coaches should not be ideally in the playing field or team area, but again, obviously last year with the pandemic, we don't want you to invite unvaccinated strangers into your home if you're not comfortable with that. So occasionally coaches may need to serve again this year, I think, for judges. For each team, they should have their own Zoom camera. And again, we'd like the playing field in the foreground, the team table in the background. And the playing field should hopefully be set up with basically the northeast corner in kind of, that direction in relation to where the camera is. So again, especially for the Online World Championship, we'd like all the fields to be facing the same way, all the team tables behind them. Each team will need its own device that's connecting to Zoom. Ideally, the location head judge will be in charge of operating that. And then we recommend 1 or 2 additional judges, at least 1 additional judge for the video recording. We did have, I think, a few teams that had their own location head judge who also did the Zoom recording with a separate device. But that's a lot of work for 1 person to do, so we don't recommend it. But 3 judges, I think, per team is ideal. 2 is okay. 1 is not recommended. Qualifications for judges. Again, the judge must complete and sign the pre-event checklist during check-in and submit that with the official scores. Location judges must sign a pledge document and recite the pledge during the opening ceremony. Again, we highly recommend that location judges attend online training. That maybe wasn't 100% possible in all cases, but that's the ideal situation. Location judges must proctor and prevent unauthorized activities. Location judge or judges, 1 or 2, will score each round and submit the official scores. Location judges need to capture a video of each run, just the 2 minutes, and upload that video to Robofest. Again, this is, especially for the Online World Championship. But if there could be some online qualifiers this season as well. Videos must be uploaded and links sent. Again, we recommend within 1 hour at the end of the competition. Again, we're hopefully allowing 1 hour just in case there's any technical difficulties. Videos should show the identifiable screen and sound at the beginning and the end for hosts to verify whether the video was taken during the official time. Okay, all sites will get, again, a pre-event checklist, I think either sent to them by email or they can download it from our game page. Main thing just to notice is there's kind of 3 sections. There's 1 things that should be checked prior to recording the video. Another thing, again, that basically needs to be checked in terms of the video recording. And again, everything that needs to be prepared and uploaded is at the bottom of that checklist. So again, hopefully all these items will be checked off by the location head judge. So again, some of the stuff needs to be done prior to the start of the competition, other stuff during the competition. And then of course, that last bottom part, I think will be checked off following the official competition. And these official forms are available at the game page. For again, if there's an event with multiple teams, all teams will start simultaneously. The site host will be the official timer, or again, they can have a separate person, but the site host will choose who is in charge of officially timing. Local judges will use the official Robofest start signal, again, via Zoom. Local judges will enter an estimated time on the score sheet, but in general for the online World Championship, again, Robofest staff will basically be in charge of determining the official times and will double check all the scores. Again, if it's a local event though, that can be determined by the site host. We're hoping that there will not be any need for any reruns. Judges should instruct the teams not to pick up the robot until either the robot has fallen off the table or it's the end of the run. Again, basically teams should just leave their robot on the table, basically until judges instruct the teams to pick up the robots. And the Robofest office reserves the right to make judgments and score adjustments based on review of team submissions. Again, especially for the online World Championship. Okay, let's see, FAQs. I guess I'll go over these. I'll maybe just try and summarize them, maybe not do all of them, but we can pull up some of these. But again, these are in the official rules right now. This is probably the main thing that possibly might be added if someone comes up with a question that we decided needs to be added based off of questions today. But some questions that might have popped up, or at least we might have anticipated before kickoff one. It says, what if objects are on the robot when the run ends? And for this question, the answer is up to 2 turtle objects are considered on board the robot. The rest are considered as scored in the target if the objects are in the airspace above the target zone, and they're considered moved otherwise. Keep in mind, right, an object can only be scored in one type of category. So either on board, above the green target, above the black target, or moved. If a player fails in starting the robot, can a player retouch the robot to start? The answer is yes, as long as the robot has not left the starting zone. It will not be considered a rerun. Next question, what if a robot is touching objects at the end of the run? That is okay. The object will be scored the same as if there was no contact with the robot. How are robots positioned in the start zone if they're bigger than 25 by 25? Parts of the robot may hang basically outside the start zone, but the footprint of the robot must cover the corner of the table that is in the start zone, or basically be aligned. I don't want to say cover, but I think should be aligned with that corner. Teams, so I might want to slightly reword that one. Teams may position robots basically within the 25 by 25 start zone. Controls and trash start in the opposite target zone. Yes, that's a possibility. Unveiled objects can start anywhere on the table other than in the designated start zone. That also includes possibly on top of pilings. In addition to that number 9 turtle, objects may start in the opposite or correct target zones, for instance. What if an object is over the location sticker of another object at the end of the run? How's it scored? Though unfortunate, the object is not considered as moved if the sticker is not visible. Does it matter which turtle blue objects are in the robot or on the robot in the target zone? No. It can be any of the blue up to 2 on the robot and as maximum of 2 in the green base. What if more than 2 turtles are in the target zone? 2 of them can be scored in the target zone. If there's more than 2, they would only be scored as moved. Okay, second page of FAQs. Is a color sensor needed to sort the turtles in the trash? No. Turtle objects are taller than trash objects, so it's possible to sort using size instead of color. Or they possibly could use both if they want to be maybe extra careful. What happens if turtle or trash objects come apart? A scoring object that is not in one piece at the end of the round will not receive credit other than moved. But for instance, if it's in 2 pieces, it only gets counted for 1 object being moved if an object comes apart. To get the maximum score for turtles, it says, should I put 2 in the green zone and keep 2 on the robot? The answer to that is definitely yes. Turtle 9 will always be on the inner north piling. That's a question. But keep in mind, the piling location will vary. Yes. Turtle 9 will always be at least on the inner north piling. Or basically on the piling, right, that's furthest south, but of the 2 north ones. It will never be right on those south pilings. The location will be unveiled before the work time. Can objects be glued together? No. So again, teams should not glue together the Lego objects. But hopefully objects will stay together without the need for any glue. Okay, and those are hopefully the main things you need to know. Looks like we may have at least 3 questions in the chat. So hopefully maybe I'll temporarily end my sharing. If I can remember, oh, there's the stop share button. And let me pull up the chat.
The first question in the chat was, is there a minimum distance from the edge of the table to a turtle or trash block? I think if you bring up the
that, like the setup slide?
The setup slide, that might answer that question.
Okay, that's fine. So I will reshare my screen. Let's see. I think I'll go to the first one. I think hopefully is the easiest one to refer to.
There you go. So
specifically, I shouldn't have clarified. Specifically, I'm referring to 5, 6, and 10 because they are unveiled.
Right.
Right. So there 5, 6, and 10 may be placed, I'm believing, anywhere on the table.
Yes.
There is no minimum edge from the edge. Is that correct?
I believe that's true. So for instance, 5 is not necessarily like between 1 and 7.
Right. Right. We just didn't know if there was a minimum distance. So that was the question.
I think for simplicity, we did not require any minimum distance. So
okay.
Those, especially for worlds, those might be put in a rather difficult location to find.
All right. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then is it possible for the unveiled locations to be inside one of the target zones?
I believe the answer to that is yes.
The answer to that is yes. Yeah.
Right.
So the 5, 6, and 7 might be,
or 5, 6, and 10.
5, 6, and 10. Yes, I'm sorry. 5, 6, and 10 may be in either the black target zone or the green target zone. Most likely, it won't be in its own target zone. That would be
right.
Giving away points.
Right. Especially for worlds, we probably don't want to give away any free points.
Correct. And so item 9 will be on the south piling of the north piling. So basically we should probably number the pilings if you're looking at them from top to bottom, piling number 2. But there, just for clarification, will there possibly be another item on a different piling unveiled?
There could be, yes.
Okay.
So for instance, 5, 6, and 10, I think actually could even be on south pilings.
Right.
5, 6, and 10 basically could be anywhere. I think even in, for instance, in the start zone, although probably we won't put them in the same start zone as the robot.
Right. Okay, those 3 questions, I think we will.
It looks like maybe someone had a new question based on.
Yes. Can you clarify the detail about the display screen, that it may have to display a number?
Yeah, so for instance, in game task in prior years, occasionally we've required the robot to measure some distance. And then we ask the robot to display that distance on the screen. It is like a sample, I guess, game ending task that will require a display. I don't want to be too more specific because I don't want to give away any hints as to any possible world ending game ending tasks.
So hopefully that answers your questions, Stefan. Eric had a question.
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Can we clarify what is defined by on the robot? And if it is,
I'll go back to the FAQs, I guess.
Yeah, if it's within the robot boundary but touching the table, it is considered on the robot. Or must the item be off the table? And I think we did answer that in the FAQ.
Or maybe it's not, or maybe it was just before. Let's see, is it here or? I don't think on the robot is here, was it? Or
It's in, I know it's in there somewhere.
oh, well, here you go. I think it's the first one, right? They're considered onboard. Well,
I know it's in the rules. I know
Yeah, that just says on the robot, on board. But you know,
board.
if you corral it within the space of the robot, is it on the robot or does it have to be
if it's
completely
touching,
off the table?
If it's touching the table, it's considered on the table. It's moved. It's not on.
yes.
Okay, yeah, go.
So I think if I go to the score sheet.
Go to score, go to the next slide.
Next slide, okay.
Yeah, here we go. The fifth one, a turtle is considered on board if the object is touching the robot and not touching anything else other than another turtle or trash object. So if it's touching the table, it's not considered on board the robot. It has to be on physically above.
It's got to be touching on the robot and not touching the table anymore.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. What if the turtle falls off the pilings during play?
Or I think maybe the turtle falls off.
Yes, the turtle object falls off the pilings.
In that case, there I think the turtle can get credit for being moved, right? But the robot would somehow have to then retrieve it to gain more points.
Yeah. I mean, the strategy could be they knock it off and then pick it up some other way. So, I mean, that's
just
not.
keep in mind, if they move the piling to do that, they'll get a penalty for the piling being moved.
So if the turtle falls off the piling, that is definitely part of a strategy that might work for the team.
Yeah. Can you guys hear me in this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we've noticed that during the play, the movement of the robot on the table, that the turtle object would just fall off the piling without even coming close to it.
You must have very heavy robots, or they're creating like an earthquake or something.
I tell you, it's interesting.
Right. I mean, we were hoping that would not just like happen automatically.
We're seeing a lot of that.
Okay. Well, I will discuss that with Elmer. Elmer's kind of our guru in terms of technical details. We didn't want to make it too easy to get move points for that number 9 turtle.
Yeah.
The whole reason we decided actually, I think in the original rules, we didn't have that case. And we actually modified it based on some comments that it wasn't difficult enough. And we were hoping the number 9 turtle would make the challenge more difficult for certain teams.
Yeah, it was to add a mechanical concept to the design of the robot.
Yeah, I have a light robot that I built and it's just falling off, doesn't come close to it. Couple other teams have a much heavier robot and it just falls off as well. So
interesting.
Hey. Well, I'll bring that up.
Is your table on the floor or is it hovering over?
What's that again?
Go ahead, Chris.
Is your table flat on the ground or is it like raised up?
Yes, it's on the floor.
And it's level.
Yes.
Wait, well, I'll bring that up with Elmer.
Yeah, that's
that kind of defeats the purpose we were going for with that number 9 turtle.
Okay, Betty had a question. Can you please clarify the footprint of the robot, which must be in the 25 centimeter start zone? Is the footprint just any part that is touching the table? For example, may a sensor hang over the black or green target zone in the starting position?
So I think the answer to her question is yes. So I mean, basically, as long as we want the majority of the robot to be in the 25 by 25 zone, but I think it's up to the team whether or not it hangs off, the west edge, the south edge, or the target zone, or even into the east part of the playing field.
Right, we're not going to have a barrier set up for the start zone. It's just where the starting location of the robot is. We understand that 25 by 25 is a very small robot. So in order to allow for more robust robot design, we have to go larger, but because the limitations of the size of the table, and we want the target zone basically in the middle of the table, we had to adjust somehow. So the start zone could be smaller than the actual size of the robot.
or for instance, since the robots are not allowed to touch, the surface, right off of the playing field, right? In effect, right, they probably could not have like the wheels, right, going to the further west, but they could have wheels right further east, and they probably can't have wheels further south because that would be then off the table.
Yes.
But sensors hanging off the east or south edge are allowable.
Okay, does that answer your question, Betty?
Yes, that answers it. Thank you.
Perfect. One last question in the chat. Will there be examples of game ending tasks available to practice with? I think we have put some examples. We will also have additional examples in the judging rules. But if you want to go back to prior year games, I would imagine that we'll be kind of using similar game ending tasks, specifically with events like where the table is the field setup. If it's a mat or something a different size besides the 6-foot table, it might not be effective, but we can work as a team and put a few more examples out there for teams to practice. I think that would be something we could do.
Yep, I agree with Shannon.
Awesome. Okay. Any other questions regarding the game or something else we've covered in the presentation?
So the camera sensor is not allowed for junior division?
That is correct.
Okay.
Oh, no, not that one. Not that one. Which is that?
Did you have a question, Emma?
Yes. When can we order the game kit?
Good question. Let me put some together for you. How many do you need? And we can, because you're site host, you get a supply. We've talked about placing orders for Lego blocks, but send me an email. Let me know what you need. If you need me to send you the water bottles, I can, or you can get those locally. But as far as like the Lego blocks, we can work with you on getting those to you, Emma.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's probably easiest, I think, right, if site hosts just contact us individually so we can work things out.
Yep.
Our answer for Florida may be different than our answer to India or Korea.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording